We have come to our final storyteller of the first set. He is a first-generation Mexican Chicagoan and Elmhurst resident for over 20 years. He's told stories all over Chicago for several shows, and he's prepped, practiced, and recorded stories right here in EPL's creative studios. He's super excited to tell a story in his hometown, in a library that his family loves and depends on. Please put your hands together for Lupe Nuñez!
Thank you for coming out tonight. It's actually been a surprise. Scott said I told a lot of stories all over Chicago, and I didn't know that there would be this much interest, so thank you very much. It looks really, really encouraging. And also thanks Scott, he does a great job for us, and thank you to Elmhurst Public Library. So I want you guys to know if you work here and provide services, there are families like ours, there are homeschool families that absolutely depend on all your efforts, and thank you very much. So now, let's share a moment together. It's 1976. My parents are both 20 years old, and my mom's in the last stages of pregnancy with me in her belly. My dad, like a 20-year-old expectant father might do, decided to go out and party for a bit one night. And like a 20-year-old in the 70s might do, my dad's partying attracted the attention of the cops, and he got arrested. Unfortunately, my dad was an undocumented immigrant, and he was arrested and deported before I was born. He suddenly found himself back in Mexico, trying to get back to Chicago before my birth. I can only imagine what it was like to be processed by immigration and prison systems, to be without money, to feed yourself from trash, to endure and fight just to get back. Things that he experienced that he hasn't acknowledged or discussed more than 40 years later. Meanwhile, my mom's just trying to cope like a 20-year-old first expectant mother would. And like a 20-year-old in the 70s expecting her first child might do, she ultimately started freaking out. She found herself sad, worried, and alone. I can only imagine what it was like to be rushed to the hospital by other family members, talking trash and disrespecting the father of your child, only to find out that there's complications with the birth. All the while knowing that you lost your own mother just 7 years earlier when she was in labor. As my mom shared this story for the first and only time with me when I was 21 years old, she described this deal she made with La Virgen de Guadalupe, the Patriot Saint of Mexico. If you make sure that my baby makes it out of this okay, boy or girl, I promise to name it after you. And so here I am. My dad missed my birth, but he found his way back. And when he got his act together and had a place for us to stay, he walked into the apartment that my mom and I were staying at, and he got a look at me for the first time. Then he walked us all out with a bunch of family members watching, and we started our family together, and we started our lives as a family together for the first time. Now, with such a tumultuous start, as you can imagine, there were a lot of ups and downs. But I'm happy to report that my mom and dad are still together to this day. They went on to raise 4 boys and helped us all become the successful and responsible fathers and professionals that we grew up to be. So I came here tonight to tell you this story for 3 reasons. Number 1, immigrants are absolutely essential to this country. And a lot of them aren't even trying to make anything great. They're just trying to make it. And I promise you, you're not going to find better people than my mom and dad to be representatives of your community and citizens of your country. And I just wanted everyone here in Elmhurst to know. Number two, just in case you or anybody you know needed to hear it, no matter how far you think you've drifted off the path, there's always a way back. Let this immigrant story be proof. And number three, my name is Lupe Nuñez. I plan on telling all kinds of stories all over Chicago still, and hopefully we'll come back in Elmhurst. So if you see me out there doing my thing, you see my name, please come out and check out the stories I'm telling. I promise you, we'll always share a moment together. Thank you very much.